different ways to cut the pie. Just a couple of different ways to cut the pie, different size pieces, if you will. Variable costs and fixed costs on one, so cost of goods sold, selling and administrative expenses on the other. Just a couple of different ways to cut the pie. But what we're going to find is that income will not always be the same using the two methods. And the reason why they're not going to be the same is because of that cost that has a box around it and a star beside it. That silly little cost on the absorption costing income statement format goes through inventory. On the variable costing income statement format, it does not. And as a result, directly as a result of the difference in treatments on the two income statement formats, income will not always be the same. Okay? And so we're going to learn a little bit more about that today.
I'm sorry, you said because of fixed overhead costs, they'll come in inventory?
Yes, they do not. Here they do. Here they do not. And therefore, we're going to have some issues. Okay? What's your next page look like? I give you some notes down there at the bottom. Isn't that cool? We're going to skip over number 1, talk about the rest. What are some advantages of the variable costing income statement format? Yes, ma'am. It can. We're going to learn about that. But yes, it can be. Not always, but sometimes. And we're going to learn when. So advantages of the variable costing income statement format. This is the only class. I'm the only accounting professor at this university who teaches anything about the variable costing income statement format. Because I teach, well, that's not true because all the other classes, all the other managerial classes would have it as well. So that's not true. So all the professors who teach managerial would be talking about the variable costing income statement format. But in terms of upper division classes, I teach the class that follows this, cost of managerial accounting, and principles of managerial and cost of managerial accounting are the only two classes you're going to take where this is talked about. Why? Which one's GAAP? The other one, absorption. So you talk about the GAAP stuff in all your other accounting classes. There's only 2 accounting classes in which you talk about a non-GAAP way to calculate income, and those are stereotypically mine. But there are some advantages of the absorption costing income statement format. It's more useful information for pricing decisions. When you're making a decision, what kind of costs do you want? And I'm fishing for an accounting word that we probably learned week 1, week 2. Probably the second week of class. You want costs that, do you want costs that are useless? Or are you thinking about it? What'd you say? Relevant is the right word that I was fishing for. You want costs that are relevant, right? When you're making a decision. Are fixed costs relevant? JJ? Correct answers. No. Fixed costs are not relevant, okay? And so which income statement format very clearly communicates to us fixed costs and non-fixed costs? The variable costing income statement format. Perfect. Changes in inventory don't affect net income. We're going to see that's the reason why the difference in operating income or net income, why they're different. Managers find it easier to understand. Allocations are complicated, right? They're yucky. Who likes doing allocations, applying overhead? Wasn't it simpler on the first exam than on the second exam? When you didn't have to do applied manufacturing overhead? It was just easier. So managers think so too. You think so? Managers think so. The impact of fixed costs on net income is emphasized in the variable costing income statement format, and it's more difficult to game or manipulate, believe it or not. Dovetails. Who knows what that means? You know what that means. Very good. What does it mean?
It's like a joint that you make like a drawer out of.
Yes, that's the example I always use. Has anybody ever seen a dresser drawer made without nails? Yes. I'm guessing most of you have, and you just haven't been paying attention, because that's how most dresser drawers are made, I think. And you see, what's the corner look like? Like that, right? They just carve out the pieces so they fit together, put a little bit of glue in there, and poof, you have a dresser drawer. Go check at home. Yours might be made like that. Happens, so it's the name of that joint. I would say most high-quality guitars, high-quality acoustic guitars in particular, are made with a dovetail joint to connect the neck of the guitar to the body of the guitar. So when it says an advantage of the variable costing income statement format is that it dovetails with CVP. Let's make sure we know what CVP stands for. What's CVP stand for, Megan? Or what's an alternative word for it? Cost, volume, profit. He is paying you back for how much you helped him last class period. Cost, volume, profit, also known as break even. How can you forget break even, right? You haven't forgotten break even, have you? Davis? No. Okay. What is break even?
Break-even analysis is how many units you'd have to sell before it covers your costs.
Covers what kind of costs?
Product costs,
Fixed costs.
fixed costs.
Fixed costs. Or, no, that's not true. All costs. But at break even, net income is? Zero. Okay. Where was I? Cost, volume, profit analysis, break even, dovetails. The variable costing, if you recall, that's where I introduced the variable costing income statement format, was when we were talking about break even, because it gives us all the information we need, right? Variable cost, fixed cost. We need that for break even. So it fits like a hand in a glove. Variable costing income statement format and break even calculations.
You had a sock in the shoe and now you have a
Hand in a glove. Awesome possum.
awesome.
Okay. So why in the world is absorption costing GAAP? Brittany? She was thinking she was kind of relaxed because she was thinking I wasn't going to call her name. Because, I just called on her just not too long ago. Why in the world is absorption costing income statement?
You can easily see how much profit you're getting out with your products.
I don't know if that's it. I do have a funny story to tell, though. Because at my old university, I literally had just asked this question. And into my classroom, for the only time in my career there that this happened, my department chairman walked in the door. Just to kind of waved at the kids, the students, and, hi, how are y'all doing? And so at the time, I didn't know the answer. I was kind of asking the question rhetorically. And so I asked him, Mr. Fowler, why is the absorption costing income statement format GAAP? And he's like, that's a really good question. And then he left. Like, poof, exit stage left. And so there was some talk in the hallways afterwards, and really probably why the absorption costing income statement format is GAAP is because it matches better. Anybody heard of the matching principle in accounting? Did you learn about that last class period? Or not last class period, but last semester? The matching principle? Yeah, exactly. And so because accountants like to